What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Bombshell story in the NFL came out yesterday when former Miami Dolphins head coach Brian Flores filed a Class A action lawsuit against the NFL, and in particular 3 teams: his former employer, Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and the Denver Broncos, as he claims that the NFL has racist hiring practices, has a systematic racism that is prevalent throughout the NFL, that there's discriminatory procedures and discriminatory practices that are prevalent in the NFL, that the NFL is a fundamentally discriminatory institution. It's basically what Brian Flores said. And a lot of people, I hear him today, they coming out there poo-pooing what he's saying he ain't gonna be able to prove it. It's gonna be a situation where he's gonna be blackballed, and he might have could have had a chance to, if not this hiring cycle, maybe next hiring cycle, he could have got a head coaching job, but he pretty much detonated that. He basically was a suicide bomber as far as his career goes, and blew himself up, and he's going to be blackballed from the NFL forever. And you guys are talking about all this other stuff instead of focusing on the elephant in the room. And that is that we have 32 NFL teams and we have 2 minority head coaches. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we have 32 NFL teams and we have 3 minority general managers. Let's talk about that. That's the point. He's willing to sacrifice his career, just like Colin Kaepernick was willing to sacrifice his career to shine light on the injustices in here in the United States. And when you talk about the NFL, the good old boy network, a lot of people say, oh man, well, they're going to hire people they know. That's the problem. Don't hire people that you know, hire people that are qualified, hire the best candidates. Because we see so many examples time and time again with these white head coaches getting opportunity after opportunities, and those same opportunities are not afforded to African American head coaches. And that's just facts. And for you to sit up here and try to they do that all the time. When we talk about police brutality, they want to bring up, well, he was a guy that got in trouble with the police. He's got a criminal record. He's got a rap sheet. Well, it don't matter about he got a rap sheet. He was an unarmed black man that got his life taken from him from a corrupt, racist cop. Let's talk about that. You know what I'm saying? They did the same thing to Trayvon Moore and start bringing up his past. Never mind the fact that he was killed by a guy, a wannabe cop, when he was walking home to his dad's house as he had just got some Skittles and something to drink. Let's talk about George Floyd. George Floyd, oh man, he had a rap sheet. He was trying to pay for something that stole with a fake $2 bill. Look at his criminal history. Trying to bring this stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what happened to the individual. He was killed unjustly. The man put a knee to his neck, knew he couldn't breathe, and choked the life out of him. Stopped the air passages through his throat when he put that knee on his throat and took his life. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that Brian Flores put together 2 back-to-back winning seasons with the Miami Dolphins when he did not have a franchise quarterback or anywhere near a franchise quarterback. Did a good job with the Miami Dolphins. Let's talk about the year he first got with the Miami Dolphins, when many NFL experts were predicting the Miami Dolphins to go 0-16, and they actually won 5 games that year with what was widely considered the worst roster in the NFL. Let's talk about that. That man is qualified. Let's talk about Josh McDaniels, who did a horrible job in Denver with the Broncos. Hired Tim Tebow, who wasn't a quarterback, wasn't an NFL quarterback, was a college quarterback. Was Tommy Frazier. But he had Caucasian persuasion. He was able to get opportunity. And Josh McDaniel did a horrible job. And then he went to the Indianapolis Colts and told them that he would accept their head coaching position. But at the 11th hour, he reneged and left the Indianapolis Colts standing at the altar. Let's talk about that. And now he's the NFL head coach once again with the Las Vegas Raiders. And Brian Flores can't get a job. Let's talk about the fact that we had 9 NFL openings and 5 of them have been fulfilled, and not one of them are African American. Let's talk about that. The proof is in the pudding. Yeah, you want to talk about, oh man, Flores, he done pretty much did what you call career suicide. Brian Flores has no proof. Brian Flores is not going to be able to prove that in the court. And that might be the case. He might not be able to prove that in a court of law. But what he is doing is shining light on a problem in the NFL that's been going on since the inception of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the fact that you got 70% African American players, and you basically got 5% or less African Americans in position of power, that being head coach or general manager, 5 to be exact. With all that being said, I'm glad that Brian Flores is standing on his square. And I'm behind Brian Flores 110%. And we saw this 4 years ago with Colin Kaepernick. As Colin Kaepernick kneeled when he tried to bring light, shed light on the criminal justice system being corrupt and racist. And people say, well, that's not the time and place for that. You're disrespecting the flag. And they blackballed him. And he paid the price with his career. But he's an activist now. And I think Brian Flores is probably heading down that same road as he wants to bring, might not make it better for him, but make it better for the next qualified black coach to not be excluded from the good old boy network of the NFL. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Brian Flores is doing what you call, great John Lewis said this, he's doing what you call a great service to America, and he's getting into some good trouble. We're going to get into some good trouble, and that's what he's doing. He's getting into some good trouble. There's some stuff that should have been brought out, because it's been going on for too long. And we finally got a guy that said enough is enough. Might not make it best for me, but I'm going to make it best for the next man. Sometimes you got to sacrifice yourself to make it better for others that come later on. And that's exactly what Brian Flores is attempting to do. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But you know, I hear people come out here saying, oh man, that's all they're going to be talking about up till Super Bowl. They're going to be talking about Brian Flores, man. We can't talk about the Senior Bowl, and we can't talk about the NFL draft coming up. We can't talk about the Pro Bowl coming up, this, that, and the third. Who made, you know, we can't talk about other things involving the NFL. We're gonna have to deal with this. This gonna be what we have to deal with until the Super Bowl. You know, people again are looking at everything but the problem, worried about other things. The Super Bowl gonna come in 2 weeks, That's going to happen. But what's not going to happen if people don't stand up and start bringing this stuff to light is NFL having a fair and equal playing field when it comes to hiring people of color. And I'm glad that Brian Flores has done that. Now, a lot of people going to see the fact that he's doing these shows today. He's on CBS. Excuse me. I know he done an interview on CNN, and he's done an interview on CBS, and he's making the circuit as far as bringing this story out. And a lot of people say, there you go, look out, he probably going to end up writing a book, making a whole lot of money, profiting out this situation. He really don't care about minorities getting head coach position. I can see him already. I can see the play already. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, oh, there you go. It's saying it's about him. It really ain't about nobody else. It's about Brian Flores. He really don't care about minorities getting head coach jobs. You know what I'm saying? That's what they going to say. They going to say that. I can hear them saying that now. They say, oh, yo, Brian Flores, man, he is making the rounds with the media. He's doing the circuit. All this, that, and the third, trying to make it look like he's all about himself. And what it is these people are giving him a platform, and that's what you need. You need a platform, man. It's time to make these 32 rich NFL owners uncomfortable. It's time to make these 32 NFL owners have to sit back and think like, well, hey, maybe I can do a better job of being more inclusive. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. But that's just my 2 cents on the situation. And I just hope that Brian Flores did not get blackballed. And I just hope that Brian Flores is able to bring change to the NFL. This is what it is. And we got 4 NFL openings. And it's going to be interesting to see if any one of those 4 teams, those 4 teams are the Houston Texans, Minnesota Vikings, New Orleans Saints, and the Miami Dolphins, to be exact. Now let's talk about some other things that he accused that's in the lawsuit. It's 58 pages. He accused the Denver Broncos of showing up to interview him for their head coaching job 1 hour late, and they were drunk, like they had been drinking and partying the night before. That's very unprofessional. And he basically said they already had their mind made up that they were going to hire Vic Fangio. They were just doing this to satisfy the Rooney Rule. And if that's the case, and if that is true, that's what we're talking about. When we talk about an uneven playing field, we talk about the fact that you're being exclusive instead of inclusive. When you talk about the fact that the New York Giants hired Brian Daboll, offense coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, and they basically had their mind made up, according to Brian Flores, when his former boss in New England, Bill Belichick, texted Brian Flores, but he thought he was texting Brian Daboll, and he congratulated him on him getting the New York Giants head coaching job. And Brian Flores said, hold on, man, I ain't interviewed yet. I'm supposed to be interviewing in 3 days. So basically, that's another example of the Giants already having their mind made up and basically satisfying the Rooney Rule. When you talk about the Miami Dolphins and his owner, Stephen Ross, saying he'll pay him an extra $100,000 if he lose games, as they wanted to tank for Tua. Remember that was the slogan going into his first season with the Miami Dolphins, tank for Tua? And they actually won 5 games. But they was able to get Tua Tagovailoa anyway, even though they did not get the first pick of the NFL draft. You want to talk about the story that came out that's in this Class A auction, this Class A action lawsuit, when the owner, Stephen Ross, wanted him to meet up with Tom Brady on a yacht, even though Tom Brady was still property of the New England Patriots, still under contract for the New England Patriots. He got wind of that, and he did not meet up with Tom Brady because he knew that he would be charged with tampering. So he's got a lot of examples, in particular with the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants, as far as being racially discriminatory, and as far as the Miami Dolphins making him, trying to get him to do basically illegal stuff. When you're talking about losing on purpose in the NFL and meeting with a player that's contracted with a NFL team, another NFL team. And Brian Flores believes the reason why he's being labeled as a guy that's hard to work with, hard to deal with, is because he did not go along with what the owner wanted him, and that is meet with Tom Brady and try to convince him to sign with the Miami Dolphins the following season. Let me know your thoughts about Brian Flores and what you think about his Class A action lawsuit against the NFL. Let me know your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports. The man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.